this video, we will cover the how-to guide as to how to configure FortiWeb to identify clients and enforce policies based on the original client IP. Malicious actors masquerade their IP address using proxies. In this video, we will configure FortiWeb to use the X-forwarded4 header to accurately identify the real client IP and to effectively block these sources. Step 1 is to navigate to Server Objects X-forwarded4 and click Create New on the top. Enter the name of the rule and enable Add X-forwarded4 option and enable Use X header to identify original client's IP and click OK to save the rule. Next step is to navigate to Policy feature, Web Protection Profile. Edit the profile you would like to apply X-forwarded4. Under Standard Protection section, add the rule we just created under X-forwarded4 option. Click OK to save the change. The next step is to configure the server policy in which you would like to apply the web protection profile, including the X-forwarded4 rule. Add the profile, including X-forwarded4 option. Click OK to save the change. Before verifying if X-forwarded4 works, we need to set up some helper features. First, in the XFF rule, make sure Use X header to identify original client's IP is enabled. Click OK to save any changes. Then, within the web protection profile, configure an IP list, including the IP that will be denied or blocked when detected. Now let's try to validate to make sure the feature works. We submit a request with the X-forwarded4 header, excluding the IP that should be refused. Upon receiving a 200 response, the source IP in the traffic log registers the IP specified in the X-forwarded4 header. Subsequently, we send a request with the IP that is meant to be rejected included in the X-forwarded4 header. In this instance, the response is 500, and the source IP in the traffic log logs the IP from the X-forwarded4 header. Simultaneously, an attack log records the request from the blocked IP. In the selected X-forwarded4 rule, click Create New button. It allows IP, IP range, and IP group. Taking IP group as an example, we select the IP group which are trusted. Click OK to save the change. The X-forwarded4 rule has an option for setting up trusted X header sources. To enforce anti-spoofing and enhance security, FortiWeb will only consider the HTTP header contents from the IPs listed in the Trusted X Header Sources table. If you don't specify any IPs in the Trusted X Header Sources table, FortiWeb will trust X headers from all IPs. Now let's configure and include the client IP in Trusted X Header Sources. Let's send a request using curl with the X-forwarded4 header containing the IP 11.22.33.44. This request is blocked, resulting 500 HTTP error code. However, if we modify the Trusted X header sources so that it does not match with the client IP, the response result will be HTTP 200 OK. Another use case is to have X-forwarded4 is to block request by country assist with GEO IP configuration. The X-forwarded4 rule requires X header to identify original client's IP set to enable. Then we add a GEO IP policy in this protection profile, which set the countries to be blocked. In this use case, let's use China as a GEO IP policy block as an example here. To test the folder, we send a request with X-forwarded4 header containing an IP address from China. This request will be blocked. Here we receive an HTTP response code of 500. In the attack log, the source IP is recorded as the IP from China in the X-forwarded 4 header, and main type is recorded as GEO IP.